I felt once I cracked the financial code that it was my obligation to share it with other people. It's my duty. It's not an option. It's an obligation.
And now, Escaping the Drift, the show designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm John Gafford, and I have a knack for getting extraordinary achievers to drop their secrets to help you on a path to greatness. So stop drifting along, escape the drift, and it's time to start right now. Welcome back, everybody. Today in the studio, I got to tell you, our whole goal here is to bring, like we say, overachievers in the studio and give you advice that can help you along your way. And when it comes to overachievers, in my little friend group, my circle, if you will, this dude, I'm going to say, is overachieving just such a monster level. I mean, the things this guy has done, he is a titan in the real estate education space. I'm talking about millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in education sold. But not, you don't sell that much unless what you're talking about actually works. So forget the millions of dollars that he's sold in education. I mean, I would venture to say it's got to be close to $1 billion earned from his students out in the marketplace or more from doing that. He had one of the most successful real estate events that I've ever been to, and was lucky enough to speak at Clever Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, live in studio, this is Cody Sperber.
Thank you for that.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Yeah, how cool would it be if you can actually, like when you're putting out training and content and education since 2009, how cool would it be if I can actually quantify the results of my students' successes?
It's got to be over $1 billion.
And you know what's crazy is a lot of my students, not real estate's not for everybody. So a lot of them took the marketing training and the personal brand building training and just the entrepreneurship components and then went off and did other things. Yeah. Made a bunch of money and then eventually parked some of it in real estate. But yeah, that'd be cool.
It's got to be there. But, you've done the show before. Mm-hmm. And I was so stoked when you said you wanted to come back on, because I think last time we did this, we really talked about real estate. It's what we kind of talked about. And I wanted a hard pivot today because, again, with the new direction of the podcast, trying to help as many people as we can, there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now. Somebody's listening to this right now and they're thinking, man, this guy's got it all together. This guy, I mean, the outer shell, the appearance, I mean, you listen to the bio that I just dropped, all of those things, all of this stuff, this facade, this perfect on a pedestal life that Cody's got. Man, I'm so envious of that. That's great. And maybe today that might be accurate, but as near as 6 months ago, when you had all that money, you had all the admiration, you had all the events, you had all those things, your life kind of took a hard fall, man. And you took a lot of steps in your life to change, to get highly invested in yourself. And I really want to talk about that today, because I think that metamorphosis of you personally is so much more valuable to people, to everybody, to hear that somebody that's that successful went through it, then here's how to invest in a multifamily house or multifamily property.
Well, it's the real shit.
Yeah.
It's the real stuff.
It is. Yeah. So let's walk back, man. Let's talk to me about describe Cody's life before the fall.
Well, I mean, you look at anybody on social media and you're getting their highlight reel, and it's a lot of times that content is designed to trick you into, being jealous, having envy, looking at somebody going, man, they have it all together. They're so good. Like for me, I was putting out content since social began all around real estate and making money in real estate. So it was like a highlight reel of Lamborghinis and big checks and mansions and lifestyle. And, it doesn't matter. And this is what you kind of discover, at least in my experience, the more money I made, I found myself hiding a lot of my pain in that achievement. And you kind of wake up one day and you realize like you kind of built yourself a luxury prison. It's an odd feeling. Yeah. The more, and it's, there is some truth that money doesn't create happiness. Don't get me wrong. Let me just make this clear real quick. I love money. Yeah. I love making money. I love talking money. Yeah. I have a great relationship with money. I want you to make a lot of money. Like I'm a big fan of winning in the money game.
Yeah.
But there is truth. Like I was very unhappy for a very long period of time, no matter how much I had. And there was moments where, you know, I'd pull up in the rolls, felt good. People recognized me, you know, as soon as I pulled away and it was just me by myself, that voice in my head was still there. And, so look, I'm not going to sit here and say life was awful. I was just in a place where I was completely out of alignment. If I'm being honest.
No, that's the point. Like, yeah. I feel like so many of us, like when you start to find some moniker of success, you start to seek validation internally through things. And I think we've all sort of done that through the lifestyle, through those things. And it becomes the next level, the next level, the next level. Like I have a guy here that works for us here, right? And I have this conversation with him all the time, and he is really, really good at what we do, at what happens here. He's an exceptional agent and just crushes, and he's a 7-figure agent as far as earnings. But yet it's never enough. You know what I mean? And it's like you need to spend time with your kids. They're only little once. You need to take time for yourself to try to find some validation in something other than just the success. Because I think that he's headed where you were. I think.
Well, here's the reality of it. Right now, if you were to see my life, I'm actually in alignment.
Yeah.
I'm in alignment with my words. I'm in alignment with my thoughts, my actions, my purpose, my girl, everything. Like every part with my kids, with my spiritual side, with my health game, everything is happening for me. And it's funny because back then I was always successful.
Yeah.
Right? Like all the things you said in the intro, those are all true. I was winning financially, but I was not winning in almost every other department. My health was completely out of whack because I was working so much. It's very hard to find time to go to the gym and to do stuff when like eat healthy and all that when you're just so buried in the hustle. And also with my relationship, you know, I was in a relationship for 18 years. I was married for 14. Mm-hmm. For many of those years towards the end, I hid in work. I didn't want to be at home. I didn't want to be in that relationship, to be honest. You know, it's like, and nothing against my ex. It's just I wasn't happy. But I was hiding it. Nobody would have known. She never knew. My kids didn't know. On the surface, it felt very normal. But deep inside, I was really, really struggling. And so I would hide at work constantly. And I tell men all the time, listen, there's so many yellow light behaviors that start happening when you start disconnecting from the truth. The truth is you can win on all the levels.
Yeah.
The truth is you should murder it in the health game. You should murder it because you only have one body.
Yeah.
You know, most people are overweight. They look like shit. They're setting the worst standard for their friends and their family. And they wonder why people don't respect them.
Yeah.
They wonder why people don't bet on them. You look like shit. You got titties. like to be honest, like you're fat and it is what it is. And you put yourself there. That's the sad thing. I put myself in that position where I chose to get up at 4 a.m. and instead of going for a power walk and, you know, maybe eating something healthy and going to the gym or something like that, I immediately go and put myself right into defense. I'm checking email. I'm reading the news. I'm responding to text messages. I'm working at 4 a.m. thinking, I'm killing it. I'm putting in those extra hours of the grind.
Yeah.
It was just the wrong grind. It was the wrong energy because, and so I was losing in that front. I was losing on the spiritual side. I didn't even have a relationship with God at all.
How did you know that you were out of alignment? Like what were the telltales?
It was a buildup. It was a buildup. And I think the question you have to ask yourself is, why aren't you getting to the next level? Because we all say we want it, right?
Sure.
We want to scale, we want to grow, we want to dominate, we want to get to that next level. But why aren't you getting there? Why aren't opportunities coming to you? Why are you sitting there looking at other people that are absolutely dominating and going, oh, they're no better than me? Why isn't it happening for me?
Yeah.
And it's because you're out of alignment. That's 99% of it. It's your psychology that's out of whack. People don't want to give you those opportunities. And even if they show up, you're going to fumble the bag anyway. And that's because, like, for me, it started really small. It just started with, first off, me hiding in work. And then justifying a lot of my actions, like why don't I have a relationship with God? I grew up, in a family where my mom and my grandparents were heavily religious, and they scared the shit out of me, to be honest with you. My grandparents were Pentecostal. They spoke in tongues. Yeah. Wow. Snake handling crazy as all get out, and
the tent show.
Yeah. Yeah. And one time when I was a young kid, my grandpa pinned me in a corner when my grandparents used to live with us because we didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And started speaking in tongues for like 15 minutes. Imagine a little kid pinned in a corner, desperately wanting to get out. Oh, shit. I was scared to death. And he's speaking in tongues. And at the end of it, his eyes are rolled back and he's kind of shaking and doing this weird shit. And at the end of it, he came back to like reality and he grabbed me by my face and he kind of shook my head a little bit. And he said, someday you're going to be a great pastor and going to lead a big flock. And I was like, fuck you.
Nope.
From that second forward.
Why am I just picturing like that old creepy guy from Poltergeist doing this with the hat on?
Well, what's funny is he was a little German
weird
guy.
Veiny fingers.
He did have veiny fingers, but he was like a short, meaty guy. Okay. So I just imagine like a little man shaking you. It's just even worse. And so,
terrifying.
and then my mom, she was heavily religious. And so it was just overwhelming religion energy, and it was too much. And I personally don't like the monetization of religion.
Yeah.
It's just a big money play, and being an entrepreneur, I like it, but I also don't respect it because it's like I'm here to have a connection with God, and it's like all about making money.
Yeah, I always say that the nuns at my Catholic school beat the Catholicism out of me.
Yeah,
because back then it was a free. They could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
it was not good.
So I'm out of alignment spiritually, and I'm out of alignment health wise. I'm out of alignment with my business partners and my friends.
Well, real quick, though, back up to the work. Did you ever find yourself because one of my favorite things that somebody said on this show in a long time was we were talking about integrity. And they said, your definition of integrity is wrong. And I was like, what do you mean? They said, well, most people, what do you think the definition of integrity is? What's the definition?
I mean, I would say it's your ability to keep promises to yourself and to others.
There you go. Okay, that's the key, because most people look at integrity is doing what you say you will do when you tell other people. And they're like, that's bullshit, because there's implied consequence to promises to others that if you break them, there is a consequence. True integrity is keeping promises to yourself, because there is no consequence other than the consequences you impose on yourself.
Yeah, winners keep their commitments.
Yeah, and I thought that was so profound when I heard that. So do you find yourself realizing, like, I'm at work just to be at work?
Well, I knew I was hiding.
Okay.
I knew I was hiding look, men do this all the time. They hide their pain in vices, alcohol, drugs, gambling, porn, women, whatever that is. And some of us psychopaths do all of it and really lean in on work.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the only thing I can control. Mm-hmm. I was so out of control at home and everywhere else that it was the only place I found any solitude where I was like, okay, I can do this and not lose my mind. But you do that for a decade, and you get the cars and you get the houses and all that stuff, but you build the luxury prison along the way.
Yeah.
And what happened for me, and some men need slapped, some of them need punched, and guys like me need ran the fuck over.
Yeah.
Before I'm willing to hear the truth or accept the reality, or the hardest part is surrender.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't willing to surrender. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, how you doing? I would say, oh, I'm great. Everything's great. I'm murdering it. Look at me. Look at me online. Look at me in my bank account.
No, but that's because that's the mentality. Push through.
Yeah.
Push. Like, what makes you so successful is also, to a certain extent, what hinders you from personal growth when you need it.
Yeah. So what happens is you start making these choices, and I call it yellow light behavior. It's easy to know when you're doing red light shit.
Yeah.
Like, you're blowing coke off a hooker's butt. Yeah, it's like, you can't be doing that.
That's a problem.
That's wrong.
Yes.
It's the yellow light shit that gets you. And it's these little, it's like a death by 1,000 cuts. It's these little moments where it's like you respond to the DM of a beautiful girl. You got 50 DMs from all these dudes and one hot chick, and you choose to spend a minute to respond to her. Shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's
you can still justify it if you had to somebody else.
I'm just responding.
I always respond. It's what I do.
And it's the hanging out after a live event and, just soaking up that ego energy just a little too long and paying attention to the girls a little bit too much. Yeah. And, it's like I never was crossing the line, but I was. Looking back, it was these little like things where it was like, I liked the attention. I liked the conversations. I started opening up. Now in my relationship, that would never happen.
Yeah.
In a million years.
Good to see you. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Zero. Like, I don't watch porn. I don't do any of that stuff. Like, I'm so fulfilled right now. But, you start doing it where you're making decisions to stay at work a little longer. You're making decisions to, like I said, not work out, not do this, not do that, hiding vices. And that yellow light becomes easier and easier and easier to do. And so what happened for me personally is I got to a point where I was going through these motions, but I felt like a zombie. Mm. I wasn't feeling any joy, any fulfillment, any happiness. I couldn't figure out why I'm not getting into the next level. Everything was a struggle. And sometimes when years go by and you just feel like, God, I'm working so hard and I'm doing all the right things. At least I thought I was doing all the right things, but nothing's breaking through. What gives? And then all of a sudden life kind of slaps you around. And this is what I meant by being ran over. Mm. In a single year, I knew emotionally I wanted a divorce. I had already started talking openly about wanting a divorce. I had already started to see somebody else. I had let Shannon know that I was going to see somebody else. And she was starting to open up to other relationships. So we were kind of like separating. And at the same time, my mom was dying of cancer. Mm-hmm. So it was like all this shit, and my kids didn't know, and I was scared to death to tell my kids, and my mom's dying, and my dad's losing his mind, and I don't have a very big family. So all this like pain was starting to and pressure was starting to happen in my life. And it got to a point where my mom was dying in my arms, and it was the last 48 hours. And if you've ever been around anybody who passed away of cancer or anything tragic, it's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
The noises, the gurgling, the writhing in pain, the administering of lorazepam or whatever it's called and morphine, and your dad's in the corner just losing his shit, and your mom is curled up and all rigid. It just looks like death. It smells like death. It sounds like death. And you're just sitting there contemplating your life in that moment going what the fuck is going on? How did I get here?
Yeah.
All the money in the world. I would give it all away right now to have my mom healthy. I'd give it all away to be in a healthy relationship and to be in love. And I'd do anything to get back in alignment with my words. And I just hit this moment where it was like rock bottom's basement. And you finally just get to this low level where you just surrender. And anybody listening, I hope you get there faster than later, because it forced me to do the one thing I wish I would have done a decade or two earlier. I would have made so much more money. I'd be so much more powerful. I'd be able to make so much more of an impact, John, if I would have done this one thing.
Yeah. Got yourself in alignment.
Went and got professional help.
Yeah. Well, what a step that is. And first, I want to back up a little bit because I want to say something, which is when my father passed, and it was the same thing. I was holding his hand as he passed with the lorazepam and all that stuff. And I did all that stuff too. And yes, that had a profound effect on me. And the thing that made me feel better in that moment was I don't even remember who it was now, but somebody sent me a text message when they found out my father had passed. And they said, your father doesn't go until he knows he has no more lessons to teach his son. Mm. And that made me feel profoundly better in that moment. And
it's a great thought, by the way.
But I'm thinking about this, man. I'm thinking about this in this situation, which is maybe the opposite end of that. Maybe God knew that your mom had one more lesson to teach you, and having you have to go through that with her was the catalyst that pushed you over the edge to do these things.
I actually believe that. I was flying back from San Diego. So one of the first things I did after my mom passed is I flew to San Diego to hang out with my best friend, Billie Jean. Mm-hmm. And I was flying back from San Diego, and I was on the plane. It was the first time I had ever felt my mom's spirit all around me.
Love that.
And it was this deep energy of things are moving. I'm moving things for you.
Yeah.
Within a week of getting back, I checked myself into psychological counseling services in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Well, let's talk about that. So I want to talk because there's a lot of people that probably need that same level of help. If you need any help, talking to anybody. And his guys were so programmed to just, now it's like Bill Burr says, fuck it. I'm just going to fucking keep trudging on until I have a heart attack and die at 50. And that's how it is. And like my father, whatever. And we're so programmed. So how did you come to that decision? Did you talk to other people? Was this an internal thought process?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I said, when you're in rock bottom and you're kind of desperate for an answer, and you're looking around, like if at that moment, if somebody would have talked to me about my mom's death or my biggest fear, I've only felt true love, instant love, love at first sight 2 times in my life.
Kids.
The first, not both kids. The first time was with my daughter, Brinley. Mm-hmm. When she was born, it was like an angel kicked me in the heart.
Yeah.
And it was different. It was the first time I had ever felt just this deep internal connection with no reason other than it was just pure joy and love. I didn't feel that with Hudson. Don't get me wrong. I loved him. It was a different energy. It was more of like, okay, I'm going to be responsible for this kid and we're going to do great things together. And I can't wait to be his dad and teach him how the world works. And like, it was more like, dad shit. My daughter was different. It was like love.
No, I always say that because one of my friends that have daughters, when they finally have a son, I'm like, great, you finally have a child you can discipline. Because I have zero ability to discipline my daughter. That's how it is. My son, no problem. Get your ass out of bed. Let's go. My daughter, whatever you want, princess.
Yeah, and it's the opposite for the moms.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Oh yeah. For the moms. For sure.
But yeah, and then when I met Maria, the girl I'm with, who happens to be in the studio watching us have this conversation.
You can't see her, but she's like,
yeah, she's a perfect 10. And those 2 moments, I told her, the second I looked at her in the eyes, I went, uh-oh. And I would have never met Maria if I wouldn't have gotten out of my old situation. And so it's like, that's why I'm saying, like, now, if you look at me, I'm in so much alignment. Yeah. Every great thing is happening for me. But in that moment, I was spinning out of control. My number one fear was telling my kids.
That you were going to treatment?
No, that I was getting a divorce.
Got it.
And I'm out and dad's leaving.
Yeesh. Yeah.
It's the worst, scariest pain in the world. No father wants to do that to their kids. And I'm just fast forwarding and I'm like thinking, God, how many girls did I hook up with because they had daddy issues? Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
no shit.
Like I was such a good I like had daddy issue radar. It's like, oh, I know who to talk to tonight at the club.
Yep, there we go.
But it's just like, I'm scared to death of that. And so I had all this anxiety and it was like overwhelming. I couldn't breathe. It's funny when somebody has anxiety, nobody around them can tell them shit. If you walk up on somebody that has anxiety, you're like, dude, you're overthinking it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Calm down.
Yeah. It's all good. Works. Everything's gonna be good. As soon as you elevate above the forest, you're gonna be able to see the reason why. It's like, shut the fuck up. I am dying.
I got problems.
I can't breathe, bro. Yeah. And so when you're at that moment, I just was like, for the first time ever, I was like, you know what? I think I need help, because if you would have talked to me about telling my kids or talked to me about my mom dying, it was like a level 8 to 10, like panic attack.
Yeah.
And so I started looking around and I found this place, Psychological Counseling Service. So anyway, I called him up and I said, hey, I want to come in for your week-long intensive. What's that like and how much does that cost? And I said, it's $10,000 and we have an opening, but it's not for a couple weeks, like maybe a month, like 3-4 weeks out. We can get you in. We're very busy. And they're world renowned for addiction clinics and all this stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's not going to work. I need it like tomorrow. I need to check in like now. Yeah. And they're like, it doesn't work like that. Like there's a lot of people that need that. And I said, you don't know me. I literally went to the bank, got $1,000 in cash, drove over there and greased the lady at the front desk. And I said,
get me in.
Fire somebody, hire me, like get me in.
Yeah.
And the lady must have felt the desperation on my face because she was just like, okay, I'm not taking your money, but
yeah, we'll get you in.
I'm getting you in. And so a couple of days later I show up and it was the best experience of my life. I happened to be with like 6 or 7 other high performing men. We went through this week-long experience where I did every type of therapy under the sun: horse therapy, acting therapy, group therapy, one-on-one therapy. My favorite was the EMDR therapy.
What's that?
It's like rapid eye movement mixed with neurolinguistic reprogramming. And so what they do essentially, you don't have to look it up because I'm not an expert at defining it, but essentially it's either with a light bar or with buzzers in your hands. And essentially what they're doing is they're firing each side of your brain. Bzz, 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 right, left. Bzz, bzz, bzz. And
they do what?
as they're playing like this, like calming music and the lights are kind of down, it's like this meditative state. And the therapist walks you through these traumatic experiences in your life. Because one of the first things I did when I showed up there is we built something called a trauma egg. It's literally, imagine if I asked you, John, did you have a good childhood growing up?
Yeah, everybody's like, sure, it was great.
Yeah, it was okay,
but
right?
when you really get into it.
And then you open up this trauma egg and you literally line item out year after year, your entire life story of every moment, something traumatic happened, no matter the degree or level of it. And then you define like, this is what happened. This is your experience. This is what should have happened. This is the feeling you should have received from the people around you. And all of a sudden you build this egg and you got like 95 line items on this thing, and it's a visual and you're just staring at it. And so now the therapist has something to work off of because you kind of prioritize the worst one. So like take my mom dying.
Yeah.
If I would have thought about it, level 8 to 10, by the time you'd go through a couple EMDR sessions, it's a level 0. So now I could talk about it. There's no like crying. There's no physical reaction. It's just like me and you having a conversation about it. But that wasn't the case back then. And so we did that. Imagine going to 12 to 14 hours of therapy per day for 7 days in a row with no distractions.
Yeah, it's like full on immersion.
It's having open heart surgery on your inner child. And I wish I would have done that a decade or two earlier, because I showed up from that moment forward. I had clarity on who I am. And the biggest lesson I took from doing the therapy is this: you cannot give what you do not have. Meaning, I can't give you, John, unconditional love as my business partner, as my friend, as a team member, as a significant other, if I don't even have unconditional love for myself. And that's the big breakthrough, is people don't truly unconditionally love themselves, meaning like what you said about integrity. Are you willing and able to look in the mirror and keep that promise to yourself over the course of your life? And the truth is I wasn't being a man. Right now there's all this, talk about it. Where's the masculinity? You can't masculine is not about being tough and hairy and muscular and aggressive. It's about being healed. It's about showing up as your true authentic self and being able to be the man you need to be, the leader you need to be for everybody around you. When my kids look at me, they see the standard setter. Right now, for the first time in my life, I have a 6-pack. Yeah. I'm murdering it in the gym game. It's just, I made it a priority. I go to church. I read the Bible. I pray every day. I'm working that spiritual muscle. I'm not saying I'm a great Christian or anything right now. I got a lot of work to do, but I'm working on it.
So I want to back up again because you just unpacked a lot, but let's talk about through the treatment. So you got back to broke, or you got back to alignment through the treatment of 7 days. Did they give you some skill sets coming out of that to maintain that?
Yeah. No, I mean, yes. Yeah. So they teach you about green light, yellow light, red light behaviors. They teach you about these things called intimacy circles and making sure that the right people are in the right circle. And that way you're focused on the right things at the right time. But no, it's not like that. Therapy is, it's just like continuing to do ice bath treatments, breath work, somatic release breath work, stuff like that. It's ongoing. It's just like going to the gym. I'm going to be working on myself forever.
Sure.
But it was more about, it felt like 10,000 pounds were lifted off my chest. It felt like I had some clarity for the first time in my life to just know like, hey, I am not operating in alignment. So I am going to make a list of the things I want to be back in alignment with. And I'm just going to start working on them just as vigorously as I do in my business. To make money. And what's funny is when I put the money-making thing to the side for a second, and first thing I did after I went to my now ex-wife and confessed all my sins and told her, listen, you will see, we will have a better relationship through our divorce and in the future than we've ever had being married. That's my commitment to you and the kids. I will provide. Women want 3 things. They want you to be.
I love. For those of you won't be able to see this because you're watching from home, Cody's significant other who's been diligently looking on her phone. I'm assuming working hard or whatever it is you're doing over there. But as soon as that perked up, her eyes shot up so quick.
Women wants 3 things. She went taking notes.
Yeah. What do I want, Cody? Let's hear the answer.
Yeah. No, they want 3 things. It's real simple. They want you to be a great provider. They want you to be a great protector, and they want you to be present.
Fair.
And if you could show up and give,
I'm getting a head nod. So
if you give them these three things, they're going to buy in, right? And I was a great provider. I was an average protector because I wasn't that healthy, and I wasn't showing up the way I was, and I wasn't setting the standard for the family and the kids and all that stuff. So I would get like a C or a D in the protector category at the moment. And I was the worst at being present. Like that was the big failure. And that's why my marriage failed.
I think that's the problem with everybody.
It's right 1 degree separation going in two different, imagine two people starting off really strong, but going 1 degree in two different directions over a 18-year period. Mm-hmm. You wake up on the other side of a canyon and you're like, how'd you get over there? Yeah. It's awful. It sucks because, it's avoidable.
Well, so let's talk about being present, because I think that's interesting to talk about. In this day and age of social media, and you're a giant in social media. I think you're 1 million people on Instagram, whatever it is. YouTube's giant. All of these things are giant. How much time do you spend on your phone?
Less now than before, but I guess it really depends on if I'm traveling a lot. But here's what I don't do on my phone. You'll never see me wake up and check the news. You'll never see me check my email. Yeah. You'll never see me respond really to text message. I hate it. Like before a certain period of time, if I'm ever on my phone, I'm a creator. I'm creating content for my brand and my messaging and stuff like that. But it's not, it's all offense, no defense. Yeah. And so I'm very protective over that. Now, I do need to get better. There are times, Marie even said the other day, sometimes it's just a bad habit. If I'm like, we're on a date night and my phone is on the table and there's like a moment break in like the conversation, I grab the phone and she's like, hey, why are you always grabbing your phone? It's like, oh shit. Yeah. I don't know why I'm grabbing my phone. It's just
because you're programmed to grab it.
Yeah.
Sons of bitches making these things.
Yeah. But what I mean by present is when I'm in her presence, in my kids' presence, when I'm in my business partner's presence, I'm there. Yeah. I am focused. They are my number one priority in that moment for a reason. And I let everything else kind of fade off into the distance.
Yeah, that's a muscle that I've got to definitely get stronger with, because I find that is in it. I hate it when she says it, because she's fucking right when she says it. But when my wife is like, did you even hear what I just said? And I didn't. I fucking hate it, because I just like, I don't even realize that's what's happening. Yeah. And it makes me feel terrible for that reasons. That's a muscle I got to get better at.
You're a dude.
Yeah.
Dudes have that in me. I think that's a natural thing.
I always think of that, what a Dumb and Dumber, when he's like, guys, she broke up with me. She put a letter. I don't know. She said I didn't listen to her. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what it said.
Yeah. But the outcome of putting in the work, and this is the good part of the podcast, is the outcome of putting in that work and going, and whether it's something crazy like a week-long intensive, because I have found that the talk therapy over once a week doesn't work. Yeah. That's just like a complaint fest or a puking of information that never really leads to a result. That's why I like those. Like acting therapy actually gave me a result.
What was that? What was acting
therapy? Literally, you're a group of men, and the coach, the therapist, grabbed one of us and said, I'm giving an example. This is not real or what really happened, but let's say somebody was molested or had a traumatic event as a child. Imagine having to dress up and reenact that pain while the rest of us were playing different roles in that kid's life. And we had to interact with that adult. Wow. Acting like they're that kid while they're dressed up with scarves and props and stuff. And then the coach is kind of coaching us through it and saying, like, now, if you were angry and you said something hurtful in that moment, what would you say? And I'm like acting as if I'm like this mean dad at the moment. Wow. And by the time we're done, everybody's losing their mind.
You're just drained.
Oh, we're losing it. We're crying. We're the one person that's going through the experience is like convulsing. It's just like this traumatic thing. But then you slowly, as you get them there, then you slowly start building it back up of what should have happened and what could have happened and what life needs to feel like when you're safe and you're whole and you're loved and it's unconditional. And it's this weird experience that when you're done, everybody kind of like embraces and you're just like, wow, that was so powerful. I never would have thought that I would ever want to do acting therapy or even get a result out of it, but it does stay with you.
It's so funny. I mean, I can't even imagine. That's nuts. But it's interesting to me. And just so you know, like when all this was kind of going on, I saw you in Tampa and I saw you then. And two things happened when I saw you in Tampa. Number one, we just started talking about this really freely. And my first thought was like, man, this is wow, fucking Spurbs is just, really open about this. And it made me feel like I'm glad I could be there for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm glad I could be there. But then a couple minutes later, like I saw you talking to a couple people about it. And I thought to myself, holy shit, like Spurbs is enlightened, man. This is next level. Because I agree with you, man. There's this stigma of men about, fucking Bill Burr, I'll just, march on till I die. But then but I think when you can have those conversations about what's really happening between the ears with other men, and it shows them, well, maybe that's okay. I have that conversation. I was fucking leading from the front, man.
We have this insane friend group, right? Yeah. And we're behind the scenes, behind the stage, and we're hanging out with everybody, and there's thousands of people in the audience, and they all paid to hear us speak or whatever. But we know the truth. We know we're all, no matter how successful you are, we're all duct taped together. In some way, no matter how cool you are, how successful you are, there's parts of your life that are duct taped together. And so like, I feel like just like when I discovered that real estate is the vehicle that everybody should learn about and be in to build generational wealth. And once I went from being a broke bookkeeper to making my first $1 million by 28, multiple millions by 30, retiring my parents that same year, living this life I never in a million years dreamed I would live. I felt once I cracked the financial code that it was my obligation to share it with other people. It's my duty. It's not an option. It's an obligation. And when I felt that way about financial stuff, why wouldn't I feel that way about personal development, the psychology of winning the life game just as much as the money game? And that's why I go around and tell people. And that's why I'm just grateful for this platform that you put together and allow me to share, because there's somebody out there that's doing the bullshit right now.
Oh yeah.
They're making the excuses. They're procrastinating on the things that they should be focusing on. They're hiding their pain in achievement or vices or whatever. They're playing small, acting small, thinking small. They're setting the worst standard, and they're a fucking loser of life, and they don't even know how they got there. And they just woke up one day and they're drowning in this negative energy.
Yeah.
And they are one decision away from
changing it,
regrouping and getting back on track. And it starts with total and extreme ownership of the truth. That is step one. And
I think, okay, let's talk about that. Because I think that is, you talked about obesity earlier being an epidemic in this country.
I think I said man titties, but yes.
Man titties. Yeah, same thing. So, how are the Kardashians not come out with bras for man titties yet?
Well, maybe now that what is it? Skims is sponsoring the NFL. Yeah, maybe now
man titties from the Kardashians. There you go. There's your new $1 billion idea, Chris. You're welcome. There it is. But no, you talked about that being an epidemic. But I think the lack of self-awareness and the lack of self-accountability is a bigger.
Well, I mean, way easier to deny the truth than it is to face it.
Yeah. I just
takes a meltdown. That's what I mean. It takes a meltdown.
But I don't think it always needs them. Does it take a full meltdown to stop pointing the finger and start pulling the thumb and understanding the fucking problem might be you?
I mean, yeah, I think it does, because everybody's a mental wussy. Yeah. Nobody wants to take ownership. Yeah. Unfortunately, right? Some people do, but those are the killers in life.
Yeah. I guess that's true. I mean, look, there's a lot of things that we explain away. And I was thinking about this because I knew I was talking to you this week. And I'm like, I went through the face thing, which is currently fully in remission, thank God. And before that, I blew my knee out 5 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, because I see you running every day on social media, running every day. And I told myself after my knee got blown out in a bizarre Mardi Gras accident that we won't talk about. I got tackled on a Mardi Gras float and dislocated.
Dude, it happens to the
best. No, it's literally Mardi Gras stopped because they had to ambulance me off the float.
No way.
Yes, it did.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is great. But anyway, but after that, like my knee's never been like 100%. Right after that surgery, it's never been.
So now you're more of an elliptical guy.
No. But here's the thing. I told myself I couldn't run anymore. And I've decided this week that that's bullshit.
Self-imposed mental roadblock.
I self-impose that on myself because I do the, I get my 10,000 steps every day, whatever it is. Whatever I do with whatever I do. And as I'm doing the steps every day, I'm like, I'm just going to turn this treadmill up to fucking 5. And I'm just going to jog for 1 minute.
Okay.
And then the next time I get on, I'm going to try to just jog for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see what's going to happen. And that's something that with me, the face, like I was in great shape before the face thing happened. That really fucked me up. But now I'm getting back there. And I think it's being honest with those self-imposed things. I told myself I couldn't run. The doctor never told me never to run again.
Yeah.
I told myself I couldn't do it.
Well, like right now, it's like starting to get cold, winter's coming in. It's funny because I just heard David Goggins speak. And that guy's so hardcore, dude, right? It's like,
stay hard.
Yeah. It's so extreme that you're kind of like, I love it. I like watching it, but I don't know. That's not necessarily my personality. Yeah. And, but he said one thing and I've adopted it and it's been great.
What is it?
He said, every morning when I'm out running at like 3:30, 4 a.m. and I'm by myself and there's nobody around. There's no cameras around. Nobody's filming me. I'm just running by myself and it's dark and I'm just passing by street light after street light after street light and empty cars and houses with all the lights off. He goes, I just sit there and think to myself as I'm running by all those empty cars and all those houses that I'm just running in front of these people, snatching their fucking souls. And every house I pass by, I'm like a soul collector. And I'm just snatching souls. And I'm just watching this. And I'm thinking to myself, holy moly, that's insane.
Yeah.
From that day forward,
Cody Sperber soul snatcher.
4:30 a.m. I'm soul snatching, and it's been it's like the weirdest mindset shift, but it feels so good because it's such a great way for me to start my day out there just getting after it.
Well, let's talk about that. What is this? And I know you do the same thing every day. What's the morning Sperber routine? I know you don't check you.
Lots of sex.
What is it? Lots
of sex. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So when the bellboy leaves the room, I'm kidding. That's it. And even if that is okay, that's okay. Go ahead. No. So how's the Sperber day start?
Yeah. It's pretty simple, I guess. It's, I wake up pretty early, probably by 4:30.
Alarm or
no alarm. No, we don't need an alarm.
Just get up.
We don't need an alarm. And I can get up earlier. I've been actually forcing myself to get up later because Maria, I don't want to totally annoy her at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
But 4:30, I'm starting to wake up. I normally get up, slam a giant thing of like smart water, and then I take some Surge. I own a supplement company called O-Snap, and we have a product called Surge, and it's liquid nutrition. So anyway, I slam a Surge. It's got 275 milligrams of clean green coffee, clean energy. Mm-hmm. It's the best energy. I don't know how we produced it. We got lucky, but it was great energy. And it's super clean with no jitters, no crash. And it's a great pre-workout and it fires your ass up in the morning. So I take that and I go do fasted cardio because we don't have sugar in our products. As long as you don't break your fast in the morning, it's a great thing to do, to slam a bunch of water and then do fasted cardio. Mm-hmm. That could be a power walk. That could be a light jog. I'm not hauling ass. I'm not, trying to win a race, but I do a light jog, but I
get the heart up.
I can go pretty far now. So, I normally run for an hour, something like that, about a solid hour and a half, sometimes if I'm feeling like it. And then when I'm done, I come and I slam a protein shake. Normally by then I'm grabbing Maria and she wants to go for a walk. So then I now do another walk with her.
Okay.
So I'm like doubling it up with the cardio in the morning. But then eventually, if I have the kids, so now that I'm divorced, I have the kids every other weekend. So when the kids are there, I'm all kids from that point forward. Mm-hmm. If I don't have the kids, then it's immediate, eat a bunch of protein, go to the gym. And normally I'm done because this is one of the benefits of being an entrepreneur. And I highly encourage people, get financially wealthy, whether that's through entrepreneurship or whatever, but I can afford the greatest healthcare. I can afford to not show up to my office until 10, 11, because I've created my schedule in a way where I can be productive in the other hours, but I made health a priority. So normally before 10 a.m., it's all health.
It's all health.
It's all health. Yep. And nice breakfast and spending quality time with my girl or with my kids. And
custom supplements or standard supplements?
Actually, I'm like you, dude. I'm biohacking. I'm a nut job at this point.
Where'd you go? Who's your
Dr.
doc?
Dr. D from Biohacks.
Yep.
And so I got, a huge amount of pills, all the different vitamins and
stuff. How many
stuff.
you take a day?
I take probably about 14 pills a day, maybe 16 pills.
Dude, Ari Rastegar, 140 pills a day.
See, I can't do that, but I do take up to 5 to 7 shots a day.
Oh, okay.
So I'm supplementing. So the non-pills are liquid, and I'm injecting it.
And what are those? Are those your?
Oh man, McB. God, I don't even know the names of it. If I could give you a list, but it's everything. A lot of biotin.
How often do you do blood? 90 days, 60 days?
Once a quarter. I'm doing
once
blood.
A quarter.
Yep. I'm doing blood and I have them on call. There's the way my biohacking regimen works is I got about 9 people in a group text, from all the nurse practitioners to my doctor to Dr. D to all the assistants. Anything I need, they're like a doctor on call at the same time.
Concierge, yeah.
And they're like a concierge service. And then at the same time, they do my blood work and make sure I'm actually doing the anti-aging thing, because that's the goal of it.
That's biohacking
is to kind of reverse the aging process. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a pain in the ass. Like even traveling here, I had to take a fucking kit with me, full of like ice packs and shots, and some shots need to be refrigerated and some don't. And your ass hurts all the time, and you're constantly massaging the shot area because you're injecting liquid in your butt cheeks.
Yeah.
So it's a commitment.
I thought they looked fuller when you walked in. I didn't want to make it weird, but I thought so. I'm like,
you don't need implants.
Brazilian
biohack.
Like, what are we doing here? There it is.
Yeah.
Anything with like,
but I feel better. I really do. I sleep better. I sleep like a champion. I feel better. Maria mentioned the other day, she goes, dude, I don't know how you have more energy than a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. I feel like I could run through a fucking brick wall right now and punch a rhinoceros in his face. Like that kind of energy I've never had until lately.
Anything else? Like, cause we just added Brown's gas, which is hydrogen. We just added that.
Now, what do you do with that? Are we huffing it?
No. You put you have the monocle thing, not monocles, but the nose thing that goes in with the tube.
Really?
And it just creates high levels of hydrogen. And we just added that.
Okay.
We added hydrogen water. So I have a machine that spins up high concentrated hydrogen water. We did that. We already have the EWAT training. So I've got the big oxygen bag that hangs on the wall in front of the Peloton. We've got that. Yeah. We've got the EMF mat. Do you have that?
Not yet.
Super low EMF.
I just got my ice bath.
How is it? See, dude, that's one of those things I want, but I'm like,
dude. So this husband and wife local startup company called Desert Plunge.
Yeah.
Called me up and said, hey, Cody, our daughters go to school together, and I've been talking about doing ice baths and stuff. We want to come over and set you up with one of our ice baths. It's the most affordable ice baths, and it's great for hot weather environments like Vegas, like Phoenix. And essentially they converted a Grizzly cooler into this ice bath. And they're, between $3,000 to $4,000, you get this super high quality ice bath. And I've been doing it. We've been doing it almost every day. It is a game changer.
Is it?
And it's funny because I was taking a group of my high-end mastermind students out on a lake one time for a little party. And I get this random call from Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella from First Form.
Sure.
Good friend of mine, but never calls me. Like never. And one day he just calls me and I'm like, I step out from the lake and I'm like, dude, you all good? Like, what's up? Yeah. Like, why are you calling me?
Do you need bail money? What's going on?
It's like one of my most successful friends.
Yeah.
And he's like, ice baths. I'm like, what? And he's like, fucking ice baths. Get you an ice bath. Like, you got to get an ice bath. It's a game changer, man. Get off the weed, get off the pills, get off everything. Do a couple minutes of ice baths. Anxiety's gone. It's the greatest thing you ever did. You'll thank me later. And I'm like,
click.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the call. Like, random ice bath. And then we bitched and moaned about politics and the economy and all the other crazy shit he's into, and about just everything. And so, but I couldn't stop thinking about ice baths. And then this husband and wife startup, and I love startups. I love supporting entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, I went and did their ice bath. I loved it. I got myself one. And now I'm a big fan. I'm championing it. If you watch my social media, I'll probably do it like once or twice a week just to encourage people. If you're dealing with any stress or anxiety and you want the rest of your day to be the best of your day, jump in it for 2 minutes. I like my ice baths at 46 degrees. I'm not trying to set a world record of being the toughest, coldest, longest ice bather. I'm telling you, immediately afterwards, you feel probably like you just got done huffing hydrogen.
No, well, no, you don't feel anything. I'm huffing hydrogen. The duster cans is what I feel like now. No. It's on the list. I'm trying to add things slowly because I like to add things and then see if I feel any different, if anything happens, and then I'll add them. So for me, the next thing I'm going to add, like the most recent thing that I added probably, and it's been a couple weeks now, which is really weird, which might be a little controversial, but I added transcendental meditation.
Okay.
Fucking love it, man.
Now, what makes it transcendental?
It's just, that's what they call it, TM, and it's what it is.
Well, what do? You just close your eyes and meditate?
No. So you have to go to like a little 4-day class thing, and it's like an hour for 4 days. It's not like a whole 4 days. It's an hour over 4 days.
Yeah.
And, the little guy, little 70-year-old little hippie guy that's been doing it since the 70s and all this stuff. And you watch some videos and he gives you a mantra and he does a little ceremony with Sanskrit, and it's, not religion at all. There's no religion to this, which I like. And then, he gives you a mantra, and then he just kind of teaches you how to meditate. So first thing I do in the morning for 20 minutes is I just sit down in a quiet place, like right after I get up. And then I'll drink water, take some supplements, and I'll sit down and I'll meditate for 20 minutes. And I just focus on the mantra. Thoughts will come, thoughts will go, but I just stay focused on the mantra. And after 20 minutes, man, you come out of it and you just feel great. And it's like
Maria's trying to get me to do this.
It's like pulling a bow back. Okay. It's crazy. It's like pulling the bow back. But here's the wild one. Right? The morning, because they say that when you're in TM, you are deeper than sleep, even though you're awake. Like your body is getting more benefit than when you were asleep. So in the morning, like you're just woke up. So like there's a little bit of you come down a little bit. But in the afternoon, oh man, because you do it twice a day for 20 minutes. In the afternoon, I'll come in here when you're sitting right there, because it's a studio. I'll just lock the door and turn the light off, and I'll sit right there. And dude, because you're here, because the day's going and you're buzzing and things are happening. This is it. And then you do it. You go from here to like there.
Interesting.
When you come out of it in the afternoon, you're like, and now I am ready to go for the rest of the day.
So when you're sitting here, you're doing a mantra?
Yeah, I'm saying it in my head. I'm not saying it out loud.
Is it a different mantra every time, or is it always a point of focus?
Your guy, your teacher person will give you a mantra, and that is your mantra, and you never tell anybody what it is. So like my wife got a different mantra than I got.
Now, do you know what her mantra is?
No.
All right, so it's like my DJ name.
It is totally.
Nobody knows what my DJ name is.
Nobody knows your DJ name.
No, and they're never going to.
Well, I think when you do that extensive tour,
that is the big secret.
Yeah, when you do that extensive tour of the subcontinent in Antarctica, I think it'll come out then. But we'll have to wait for it. But no,
well, I love that you're doing that stuff, dude. It's like certain biohacking stuff you never feel. You don't even know. The only ones I really feel are NAD.
Yeah,
I feel the NAD. I'm trying to think of any of the other shots. I don't really feel any of the other shots. I don't feel any of the vitamins. I maybe sleep better because of just my.
Do you do the M&M or NMN?
No.
That plus resveratrol?
Well, maybe. Hold on. What's NMM?
NMN, it's a white powder. You take it every day.
No.
You just drink it. But yeah, that plus resveratrol has been proven to create, like Chris Crone actually turned me onto that.
Okay. I'd have to look into that. I'm at level 1 biohacking right now.
Okay. All right.
I'm not at the other guy that's taking 150 pills.
Yeah, that's
level 10.
Well, dude, you get to a certain...
He's the David Goggins of biohacking.
No, not me. No. You get to a certain point when you're like, dude, like my father passing away, right?
Yeah.
Like that number is now like permanently etched in my brain. His age when he passed away is permanently etched. Every day I look at that, and there's a clock running. I mean, time is now.
Yeah, that's
right. There's a clock running. And I think about that every day, and everything I can do to extend that, I'm going to extend that. And not just, not because I think the world needs more of me for longer, but my kids do probably. It would be nice for me to be around for them. Yeah. So there you go.
I imagine if everybody in the world, because the answer we need right now is love. If everybody in the world loved themselves more, to want to take care of their bodies, to want to get in shape. I said a stat on Dean Graciosi's podcast, and I got all this pushback that 1 in 10 Americans, that's what I said, 1 in 10 Americans are considered millionaires. It's actually 1 in 8, by the way. I was off by 2 Americans.
Including the equity in their house now.
Yeah. Okay. Just overall, if you look at their whole world, they're considered millionaires on paper. But only 1 in 25,000 have a 6-pack. Why do more? And my I wasn't trying to debate like, well, there's natural reasons people have a six pack and, you know, some people just don't have that biology. It's like, I'm not trying to debate.
I argue that.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's really hard to get a six pack, and there's significantly more people that make money than have better health. That was my whole point of that stat. But
it's easier to learn how to get a six pack than it is how to make millions.
It's easier, but nobody does
learn.
Yeah,
but to do it
backwards.
But
imagine if we all just loved ourselves so much that we went and got the therapy, and we went and did the biohacking, and we went and did the meditation and all that stuff. When somebody cuts you off, because right now it's nuts. Every time I turn around, people are angry at each other. It's like you get cut off on the freeway and there's this explosion of energy, and you're just like, can you guys just all take it down like 10 notches and treat each other a little bit better for just a minute?
Yeah.
And if everybody was actually, because I found that's the best result of everything that I've done, is I don't react nearly as aggressively to a lot of people as I used to. I was always on edge, and I never could understand why subconsciously I exploded. But that programming is there, and you need to reprogram it, and you're carrying it from childhood and you don't even know it.
If that is you, if you're listening to this, I'm telling you, the TM will help with that. I'm telling you, I find myself to be way more, and it's so cool because it's such a quick result. Like they'll tell you, like, this isn't like something you got to build up for 6 months. If you do this religiously every day, you will get benefit quickly. And I find myself much calmer in the face of adversity. I find myself analyzing and problem solving more than reacting.
So do I have to change, once I start doing this, do I have to change my name from Clever Investor to like the Zen Investor?
No, which would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Do what you want. I mean, I'm going to tell you, like, if you go, the little first day is a little hippie-ish for me. Little hippie for my taste. Take some flowers and some fruit. What are we doing for this? Like, this is like, but I went in open mind. Like, I'm going to go open mind. And I got to tell you, I'm so glad I did.
So after the first day, you kind of started buying in. See,
I bought in the first day. Yeah.
I got a gift certificate one time to a float tank thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kill myself in that float tank. After about 4 minutes of laying around in that thing, I was going crazy. And that's how I feel like I would feel doing the meditation.
No. Me too, dude. I've always said, like, I could never do yoga because my mind is moving too quickly. I'm going too fast. That's what this is for. Like, dude, I would totally go to a float tank now. Like, we were at the spa for Gidget's birthday, like at Venetian, which is awesome. Highly recommend the couples massage at the Venetian, by the way. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. But we were hanging out in there, and they have like a wave room deal. I just went from cool room to cool room meditating in that place, and I loved it. It was such a good day, dude. She's like, yes.
Everything we're talking about is right up her alley.
I'm really sorry, because she's going to hold you to this.
She's been wanting me to do this meditation thing for a while, so I told her I would do it. The old Cody would never have done it. I would have fought it the whole way.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, just go give it a whirl. You'll dig it.
Hopefully there's somebody out there listening to this that does kind of look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm out of alignment. This has been a godsend to have this conversation and then be able to listen to it. And you make the call, it'll change your life. And I promise you, if you want to get to the next level, this is how you get there.
This is how you do it. Well, Code, if they want to see more or talk more, if they want to see more of you, how do they find you?
I hope nobody contacts me ever. I don't want to talk to any of you guys ever again.
I want to watch you.
I want to disappear in the mountains with Maria and my kids and just.
That's it.
No, I'm at Clever Investor on all social platforms. And, I just want to once again say thank you, John, for putting this together. I'm excited about your book.
Yes.
Are we,
soon.
When?
Soon.
How soon? Come on, dude. We got to get this thing out.
Hopefully, March. It's not because the first one's coming out on a major publisher, so it's taking time.
Okay. So, well, I'm a big fan of yours, and I'll always support. I'll be one of the first people to grab my copy or two, and maybe if you're lucky, it's a good book. I'll leave a 5-star review.
Perfect. Thank you. That's what's important. You're going to get an honest review. Cody Sperber, this is garbage. Don't waste your time reading this.
That's funny now. Yeah. But I'm proud of you, dude, and everything you've ever created. And it's been great just getting to know you over the years. So thank you.
Thanks,
for having
brother.
me on.
I value your friendship so much, and it's always a pleasure to see you here. So
hopefully see you guys next time.
There it is. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Escaping the Drift. Hope you got a bunch out of it, or at least as much as I did out of it. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the show, you can always go over to escapingthedrift.com. You can join our mailing list. But do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, throw up that 5-star review, give us a share, do something, man. We're here for you. Hopefully you'll be here for us. But anyway, in the meantime, we will see you at the next episode.